What's up, fellas? Today I'm dissecting a titanium electrolyzer for a pool chlorinator. A friend of mine gave me this because it failed on him. The device is reading low salt, but when you put a new electrolyzer in, it works. And I told him that most likely the terminals are corroded where it connects to the titanium plates, and the voltage reading is messing up the circuit, telling the circuit there's low salt when in fact it's just high resistance in the connection. As I was cutting open, I decided to bust out my central pneumatic high-speed metal saw. And this thing cuts through plastic like you wouldn't believe. I had no idea it was so effective. I would have used it before. Pretty quick. Right away, I'm noticing it's critical that you keep whatever it is that you're cutting as sturdy as possible, or as firm as possible, because stealing any vibration from the cutter decreases the speed of the cut. Okay, so if you have one of these pool chlorinators that uses a salt water and electrolysis, and your electrode goes out on you, or if you get what they're calling a low salt reading, it's because these potted electrodes are leaking. Look at that corrosion on that terminal. This thing's been burning up for quite a while, and because the electronics sense the voltage of the plates, if the voltage reading isn't coming out right, it'll register as a low salt. But in reality, there is no low salt. It's just because the corrosion building up on these terminals. There's no way to take this apart and clean it, unfortunately. A lot of this just comes down to manufacturer's flaw. And this camera takes the worst macro shots in the world. Like, what is up, iPhone? What the hell is all this? This thing's got quite a bit of gunk on it too, so it'll still work, but I think because the voltage is monitored on these things, that's where the problem's coming from. So anyone who has an electrolysis pool chlorinator or salt water pool chlorinator and you're having problems with your electrode, I suggest you take the electrode out during winter, let it dry out. You could clearly see that rust water was coming out of the terminals on this one. But that's what it is. I'd be half tempted, if I were you, to disarm the electronic system that monitors the salt and just run the power straight to the electrolysis cell itself. Bypass the monitoring electronics. If you're smart enough to do that anyway, I mean, it shouldn't be that hard to figure out, but the sensors is the problem here. Definitely. And these electrodes ain't cheap. I think he said this was a $90 electrode maybe for this thing right here. These are titanium plates, they say. I tend to believe that they appear to be what's that stuff called? It's something dioxide, mono something. It's in batteries. Manganese or magnesium dioxide, I mean. These might be titanium. I'll find out. That's irrelevant in this video. This video is just for people who have these pool chlorinators. That's what I think is happening. The potted terminal connection point just leaks over time. Electrolysis is extremely brutal, almost impossible to seal off in this regards, but that's what's happening. The pot is leaking. They should have made these terminals, this piece of metal should have been stamped on here like it is, and then a solid piece of metal should have came all the way out of the unit and connected directly. There should be no hidden connection point inside of that pot. This is a huge design flaw. This right here should have been just welded on there, just like that, and that would have solved the problem. Almost makes a guy wonder if you could try and do a repair on this by boring out the plastic and doing a small TIG weld operation. Because as I said, these things only last about a year with them doing this. So my friend's paying like 90 bucks a year for an electrode for his swimming pool because of the corrosion and the voltage monitoring system that's registering low salt when in fact it's just corrosion and resistance on the terminal connection points. Those washers are pretty nasty. So it's highly likely that the corrosion was simply disarming the electrolyzer. And I'm going to do some interesting experiments with these plates as well. Just wanted to share that with anyone having trouble with their electrodes. It's definitely a manufacturing flaw. And if I was you, I would try and claim my warranty before it actually breaks. Tell them it doesn't work, because this is just junk right here. I mean, I don't promote lying, but for crying out loud, why didn't they weld those together?